Halacha was, we know when the Mizbeach, the altar, was built, Torah says not to build it with stone which was cut with metal, whether it's a knife or a sword. Had to be stone cut with the shamir, special worm,
laser.
that it was almost like a laser. There's different opinions on exactly how it would cut. If it would cut its head off, it would be a laser, or if its blood would be what cut it, or if just by walking on top of it, it would crack the stone that's under it. Regardless, the Mizbeach was not made, commanded not to be made with a knife. And the Midrash explains the reason why. The Mizbeach is something which brings life. It's something which is the intermediate between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Bnei Israel, by us serving Him and sacrificing to Him on the Mizbeach. And therefore, to have something like metal, which alludes to swords and knives and so forth, which cuts down life, should not be present while constructing something which brings life. This is what the Midrash says. So this halacha is practical for us in another realm. And this is, there's a halacha that one is not allowed to walk into a Bet Knesset with a knife. Talking more like a large knife. We're not talking about knives that are used for food purposes, because then that's obviously fine. But a sword, I'll go so far to say even a shchita knife, a knife which is used to slaughter chickens or animals, also should not be brought into a Bet Knesset. Again, that's something which takes life, exactly a sword or a butcher's knife, a slaughtering knife. That's something that takes life. Don't bring that to a place where promotes life and grants life, like a house of worship, a Bet Knesset. Now, there is a leniency, not leniency, but there's a way to overcome it by having it covered. If you keep it in its case, or you cover it, then it's not a problem to bring into Bet Knesset because it's not being exposed. Here comes the most obvious question. What happens to those, let's say, who are in the army, or those who have to carry a gun for security purposes? Are they allowed to halachically bring weapons into the synagogue?
Yes.
Listen to the halacha. The halacha is as follows. The same like a knife. Ideally, one is allowed to bring a weapon halachically. We're not going to talk about what the rules here at the synagogue are. First, we'll start halachically. Halachically, bringing a weapon such as a gun into a Bet Knesset is halachically permitted. Now, ideally, it should be concealed. It should be covered. Now, let's say if you are an officer in the Israeli army, and their guns are very, very huge. You can't cover that. So there's one of two options. If it's possible to lock it up in a cupboard, that would be ideal. But if there's any doubt of a life-threatening situation, ideally, absolutely no problem, one can wear it on their shoulder, around their back, even though praying should not be involved with weapons, because that's something that takes life versus something that gives life. For the safety of the individual or the surrounding, one is definitely allowed to pray even with an exposed weapon. This is halachically. Here in our Bet Knesset, while we're on the topic, I'll give you the policy. The policy is no one is allowed to carry weapons in our Bet Knesset unless they have registered themselves, made themselves known to our security committee. And the reason for this is very simple. The reason for this is, God forbid, if there would chas v'shalom be such a situation, the individuals on the security committee know who they are, and they've covered different corners or positions in the room. God forbid we wouldn't want a friendly fire. Rather, everybody who carries and who would be there in a time, lo aleinu, of chaos, everyone knows that if bullets, chas v'shalom, are coming from the north end, is it one of ours, or God forbid, is it an enemy? That's why it's very important to maintain this policy. This policy was well thought out by our security committee, and B'ezrat Hashem, it will never have to be used, but we always have to prepare, B'ezrat Hashem, that nothing will happen. Tonight, Mincha Arbit is at 6:30, tomorrow morning again.